Welcome back to the session on the mechanics of writing. In the last session, we learned how we can quote from a poetry or a prose, how it can be italicized or written within quotations, or it has to be indented. Presently, we are going to see ellipsis. When quoting a text, sometimes the need is to use only some phrases or part of a sentence or part of a paragraph. In this pattern, we have to use ellipsis. When omitting a word, phrase, a sentence, or a paragraph from a quoted text, from a quoted passage, writers should be guided by two principles. One is fairness to the author being quoted and clarity and correct grammar in their own writing. If only a fragment of a sentence is quoted, it will be obvious that some of the original text has been left out. For example, in his inaugural address, Kennedy spoke of a new frontier. If material from the original has been omitted, the omission should be indicated by using an ellipsis. That is 3 dots. For an ellipsis within a sentence, if the ellipsis is going to be within a sentence, leave a space before and after the 3 dots. The 3 dots represents the ellipsis. It represents that a part of or the portion of a sentence of the sentence has been omitted. A quotation that can stand as a complete sentence should end with a period even if something in the original has been omitted. So always end the quotation with a period. Sometimes there are interpolations. The writer's own comments or explanations within quotations are enclosed in square brackets, not parentheses. Use words like thus, so, sparingly in square brackets and without quotation marks or an exclamation point. Hamlet says of his mother, colon, why? Come on, she should hang on him. Hamlet's father. So you're giving it in square brackets. As if increase of appetite had grown with what it fed on. You have 4 dots. You have 4 dots which represents the parenthesis at the end of a sentence. Punctuating quotations. Quotations set off from the text require no quotation marks. When you are going to give the quoted matter which is not part of a sentence or part of a text, it need not be written within quotation marks. Internal punctuation should be reproduced exactly as the original. You should not drop any punctuation that is already present in a quoted text. It has to be reproduced as it is. For quotations including as part of a text, first use double quotation marks. Then for quotations within quotations, single marks. You have an example over here. The professor in the novel confessed and he found it impossible to teach the single quotation to be or not to be single close quotation speech close quotation double quotation because he was himself terrified by its implications. So this particular example clearly shows you how to use and where to use the double quotation and the single quotation. Commas and periods are placed inside closing quotation marks using a parenthetical or bracketed reference intermediates. All other punctuation goes outside quotation marks except when it is part of a quoted matter. Original. Now you have an original sentence. I believe taxation without representation is tyranny. So when you're quoting it, it can be quoted in different forms. He attacked taxation without representation. He attacked taxation without representation, page number 32. Did he attack taxation without representation? He did not even attack taxation without representation. So you see here the use of the different punctuation marks. But he declared that taxation without representation is tyranny. So that is what is the correct form of quoting a material. When a quotation is formally introduced, it is preceded by a colon. Quotations of verse are also usually preceded by a colon. Here you have two examples. Coleridge's Rime of the Ancient Mariner concludes colon, a space, open quotation, a sadder and a wiser man, comma, you have a slash because this is a verse from a poetry. So that denotes that the next line comes below. But since we have only two lines or two verses taken up here, we use a slash to represent the two verses. He rose the morrow morn, but. Here in the next example, you can see that quotations of the verse are also usually preceded by a colon. Poets. Open and close quotation, according to Shelley, are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. So in this particular lesson, we saw how we make use of ellipsis, interpolations, and quotation marks for quoting a particular verse or text from a poetry or a prose piece. Thank you. In the next session, we will be seeing how the texts are used in different, names are used in different languages. Thank you.